Hi, I'm Clayton Shaw and today we're here at the Uclan Library to meet with the Social Work BookClub. The book club review fictional texts and apply the stories to the theory they have learned, so let's go and meet them. The book club was founded by Uclan's Social Work department and regularly hosts sessions which are live streamed online. The club welcomes students from across the Social Work department, allowing the students to meet and share ideas with other students in different years of study.
So it's lovely to have you here again. I'm really glad that we have the mix of people that we do. Andrew's a practitioner, a social work practitioner, so we've got some practitioners online as well. I'll just say that we have one newly qualified and one student social worker. One's a master's student in the University of Dundee and the other one has just qualified from the University of Dundee in the BA programme, and they're leading our Twitter feed and the discussion on there because we want to bring other elements to it to make sure it is interactive and we are talking to social workers and practitioners out there. When I read this book, it was last summer, there was some students that recommended it to me as well, and I didn't really look at it through social work eyes at that point, and I've gone back to it and read it with my social work eyes on, but I do remember feeling incredibly humbled by the story just as a human being really reading it. And I suppose there's some of that when I went back to revisit it this time. I was thinking about how sensitive it could be with Jeanette's information, because she's written a book and she sent it out to the universe for people to read or whatever, but I still felt that I wanted to be really respectful around her story. For me, this was still another human being's lived experience, and that felt really important to me. So when I was making notes through it, I was very mindful about that, and when I've been tweeting about it, I've been trying to be mindful about that too.
So what do you make of the book club and of the idea behind it?
Well, I think it's a fantastic idea. I think the idea of kind of reading novels actually, or in this case this isn't exactly a novel, it's kind of somebody reflecting on their lives, but I think it's really great because I think we've lost our way a bit in social work, and a lot of the language we use in social work is quite abstract. You know, it doesn't talk about people, and it doesn't talk about love or hate, or it doesn't talk about people's tears. It talks about syndromes or problems they're having. I think in some ways we've stopped seeing people in social work as human beings.
What is it about fictional books then that can create such a lively debate in a room full of budding social workers?
People are drawn in very complex ways. They're not one thing or the other. They're not good or bad. They can be like good one day and terrible the next. And so I think it brings you into the messiness of people's lives.
From an academic standpoint then, how valuable is the conversation brought about in the discussion to the students' progression?
It really makes them understand how important compassion is in social work, and that you can have all the qualifications in the world, but if you actually aren't able to engage with people in their complexity and the fact that they're not black or white, that they're multiple shades of grey, then I think that would be a very valuable thing actually.
And when she said about, you mentioned it, didn't you, about the she's my monster, and I could really relate to that when she said she found herself not wanting her real mum to say something bad about her adopted one.
And tell the first in line, they often think, I can't tell anyone. So it's that thing, it's a really interesting thing. It's worth reading actually. Again, I can send the reference
yes,
to
that'd be great.
The really lovely thing about information and information control is, I think she used Goffman to talk about the presentation itself and information control. But it was one of the most influential chapters I ever read by anyone about trying to understand information and why we do and don't tell things.
So what's your opinion of the book club then?
So this idea of exploring theory through fiction, through narrative, through story kind of interests me, and I wondered how well it would work, and I really enjoy it. I'm really fascinated by the process. I think it works really well. The students are engaged and it's connecting people in ways that I didn't imagine, and that real learning, you know, it's really generating real learning. So I'm really impressed by it.
Still fight it. Yeah. I think if there has a Lord's, people are really concerned about it for, you know, timescales are very tight, and also
So would you advise other universities to adopt a similar scheme?
I think there's scope actually that this one builds across other universities rather than lots of separate book clubs. Just because I think the diversity of people getting involved, their different experiences, different backgrounds, that will make the debate more rich.
A minute, because I do think our current policy climate is so much about you can re-engineer, you can socially engineer people into new families, you can construct new identities and new beginnings, and you can become a new you with a new mummy and daddy, and that is a real travesty of.
So what is it about fictional books then that you think can create such a lively debate in a room full of budding social workers?
I think some of the things they've touched on today in the book club is this idea that social work now tends to be reductionist. It tends to be about looking at things in very sterile ways. So policies, new policy documents, they talk about people in very objectify people. And I think what fiction does is it provides the narrative. It provides, it allows people to explore the complexity of human lives, of the people that they would be dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and brings alive some of the theory. I think it really allows social work to come alive in a way that perhaps kind of dry literature might not.
So how would you advertise the book club to your colleagues who haven't been to the club yet?
The book club itself, I really enjoy being part of the book club. It's really developed. We're now to a point where we've got students from first, second and third years. We've got students from other universities on board as well, and also we've opened it up now to social work practitioners, and we've got Andrew Ellery here today with us. We've got Professor Brid Featherstone, and it's just great. I'd never get that opportunity to mix with so many different people. So yeah, I love it. The book club's really, really added to my knowledge in social work.